Today's video, we're going to talk about SKAG is outdated or no longer works. People who are saying this are either stupid or trying to sell you something, which I know that's going to piss off a whole lot of people reading this title of this video and are triggered, but I have plenty of evidence to back up this statement. In short, ads that are relevant to the user search are going to get the most response from those users. You can't tell me if somebody's searching for brown underwear that your ad that says underwear for sale is going to perform as well as an ad that says best brown underwear on the internet. This is fundamentally going to be the case for the next 500 freaking years if Google Ads is around that long. And it would only make sense 500 years from now that Google rewards the person setting up the ad for each keyword because it's going to help their users find what they want easier. So why wouldn't they want to not reward their advertisers that are doing that, given that people that get what they want quickly and easily are more likely to come back and click on an ad in the future, which builds more demand for future clicks on ads, which they can generate more revenue from. It is really this simple. That said, I know what you're saying. If you're one of the pissed off crowd that is listening to what I'm saying here and your blood's boiling, you want to punch me, whatever. The reality is, I get it. There's a couple reasons why people say SKAG doesn't work anymore. That doesn't have to do with that per se, but have to do with how Google systems change, how it's all machine learning driven now. The match types don't really match on an individual one-to-one level anymore. And I can tell you by the end of this video exactly why those reasons, and that's not relevant enough of a reason not to do SKAG setups anymore. Trust me, I would love to just not have anybody else do SKAG and I could shut down this channel and then nobody uses it again except for myself. And it'll give me all the profit to myself because naturally when I'm in a market, nobody else is using SKAG and I'm using it. I'm going to have the best ads every single time. That's going to give Google the want to give all the benefits to me, not only just lower cost per click, more impressions. They're going to give me the people that are more likely to convert to the guy that they want to encourage to stay around, which is the person with the best click-through rates and the best conversion rates. And you're actually just going to get more click share with a SKAG ad. You're going to get a better conversion rate with a SKAG ad because you can hand select the page on your website to send them to and or create a custom landing page for each keyword, which gets them to convert at a higher rate. All these reasons mean you can make at least 3 times as much money with SKAG than the average setup that everybody else thinks is the best. So I'm going to go into detail why this is to really hammer home why saying SKAG doesn't work anymore is really dumb. And for that matter, you should be disregarding all of it just from the standpoint that Google is playing games, having your ads show up for a bunch of weird crap all the time now, and SKAG helps you not have it show up for all the weird crap. When you're using exact match phrases with custom ad copy, you're going to have the least waste of that's possible out of everything you're doing because you can target long tail keywords that are super specific to buying behavior or people that are actually making searches where they show you what they want to buy, which is its own reason alone to use SKAG versus your typical, here's some broad match keywords, let the algorithm handle it. So before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am yet, I'm Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability up front. Basically in excess of the management fees that we charge, which should tell you how good the information and advice that we're giving you on this video, given that we literally get paid out of what we make for clients on their ads up front and nobody else is doing that. Nobody has the guts or wants to do it. So with that said, people love saying relevant ads in Google ads and Bing ads, if you want to add, or Bing or Microsoft to it, same exact thing there, no longer works because of machine learning and loose practicing of match types by Google. So people regurgitate what Google's saying here, which is why they're saying it. Google wants you as an advertiser to piss away as much money as possible because that makes the most money for Google. They want you to use broad match keywords because that'll get you to show up for the most garbage and not just the stuff that works, but the stuff that also doesn't work, and hope that you don't set up tracking and know your numbers, eat all the clicks from them, and they can sell you the most clicks possible as a result of that. Because there's only so many highly converting people to go around, and they want to be able to raise their revenue every quarter, and that's the way that they want it. So it's to their advantage, which is smart, to tell people to use broad match keywords, and don't worry about targeting targeting keywords on an individual basis and writing a unique ad copy for them, because the system's smart enough to realize when you put 10 keywords in there, what you want to target in general, and we'll take care of it. Just give us your wallet, and we'll take the money out of your wallet ourselves, and we'll get you some customers. Trust me, okay? Ultimately, you would not treat any other entity or any other employee or person that way, period. For some reason, people trust Google inherently to not want to make money. I don't know why, but they do this, and then they just listen to what Google says and then just do automatically what Google says, knowing that Google's goal is to make money, not to make you money. So why do they believe this? I don't know. So with that said, machine learning that Google has, yes, they may understand when you put 10 keywords in your account about, let's say you're a plumber. You put plumbing services, plumbers, plumbing, 24-hour plumbing, whatever in your account, and then you expect Google to know everything you should show up for just from that. And then machine learning will take care of the rest, okay? I can tell you for a fact that if you target the 1,000 different ways someone searches for plumbing services, you'll do much better, because you can target all the long tail searches like broken toilet repair service, sewer line unclogging service, stuff like this. And then when you have unique ad copy set up for each of these terms, users are going to click through your ad at least at double, if not triple or 4 times as much as an ad that says plumber for hire. When somebody searches for sewer unclogging services, and you have an ad that says sewer unclogging services, they're going to click through it 3 times the rate usually, at least, no matter how good your ad copy writing skills are, because it's relevant to what the user's looking for. And when you target that long tail keyword versus plumbers, you're getting a refined user that is more serious and more likely to turn into a customer, so you're paying for more quality versus throw a bunch of keywords into your account and then let Google handle it. You can weed out the keywords like plumbers, where frankly half the people that are searching for that are looking for information about plumbers, what is it, the definition, all this other crap that you don't want. So in other words, you can just focus on the phrases that are more specific and that actually work. And then what's left, you don't have to sacrifice and suffer with less clicks, because you're only targeting a smaller part of the available pool of people, but you have better ad copy, so you actually are able to get 3 times as much out of it as anybody else is getting. So your whole budget gets spent on just the portion of the traffic that converts the best and it gets highest ROI. Who can argue with that, so to say? And then along with that, people say machine learning, which in and itself doesn't make sense because they're not specific as to what they mean. And then loose practicing of match types by Google, that SKAG is irrelevant. Yes, when you target the keyword sewer unclogging service, Google, and let's say you have the 2 keywords, sewer unclogging service, and then just sewer unclogging. You could have an ad just for sewer unclogging service and an ad just for sewer unclogging. And Google, they are right. The critics are right that your ad for sewer unclogging can show up sewer unclogging service if you have an ad for each one of them, and vice versa. However, there's techniques to have the right ad that you intended for each keyword to show up for the keywords that they're supposed to show up for, if you have the information I'm sharing here, and which should be logical if you were really taking the problem seriously or task seriously of actually having to get your ad to show up for the right keyword in your account. The first of which is Google's going to want to have the ad that gets the highest click-through rate to show for each keyword. So yeah, at the beginning of what you're doing, you're going to show up for all kinds of weird stuff, but eventually at the end of the day, the inevitable conclusion they will have is the ad that's set up for sewer unclogging service that has sewer unclogging service in the headline versus sewer unclogging is going to get a higher click-through rate than sewer unclogging. So therefore, the ad for sewer unclogging service should always show up for somebody that types in sewer unclogging services, if you will. And then the loose, match types where, having your keyword in exact match really is like the phrase match of yesterday, and phrase match is the broad of yesterday. All that's true, but that just means at the beginning, the system is going to match loosely and they've set it up that way because most people aren't going to go and do things thoroughly like I do and put 1,000 keywords into your account and target them individually. They're going to put a few in there and they're going to let Google, because they're lazy or don't know any better, match their ad to what they think they need to match it to. And so therefore, they don't want exact match to just be exact match anymore because they're not going to have enough keywords in their account to really take advantage of exact match. Their end goal is to find the ads that get the highest click-through rate for each keyword out there. They're looking for, out of all the advertisers and all the ads in your account, they get the highest click-through rate when somebody searches for sewer unclogging service. And your ad that's perfectly written for that term is going to be the ad that gets the highest click-through rate. Therefore, it's going to get shown after a period of time of Google running their tests. The truth will always be known, so to say. The number one rule above all others with Google ads is Google wants the highest CTR ads to show because that gets people to click on ads in the future more, right? And Google wants the highest conversion rate ad to show. That is, whatever ad drives people to a website that gets the highest conversion rates, because it gets people to have a good experience from the ads and therefore want to click on ads in the future. Therefore, Google's going to make the most money over the long run showing those people. All right. So you could totally unsubscribe from this channel if you wanted to. And just knowing two things about Google ads, that if you're trying to make millions at Google ads, is do whatever you need to do. You can steal from your grandma if it's necessary to get a higher click-through rate on your ad and get a higher conversion rate from your ad clicks. Because if you do that, Google's always going to reward you with more impressions, lower cost per click, better quality clicks, on and on and on. That's all you got to do. Just do those two things. How you get there doesn't matter. Steal, lie, cheat, whatever. You do those things, you're going to make more money every single freaking time. Okay? Click-through rate increase by itself without conversion rate increase is not good. So that's why you need both, so to say. And you can't just get more conversion by weeding more people out on the ad. You need both. You need high click-through rates and high conversion rates. You marry the two, Google's going to give you preferable treatment in the auctions, and you're going to make a pile of money. Google ideally wants the top 10 or 20% of advertisers in a market that's competitive, when there's 15 guys cycling in and out of those top 4 spots, to show as much as possible, and everybody else shows little to none. And then when they are showing, they're showing to the people that they know is least likely to convert. Therefore, they don't care, because those people can quit and they don't care. They need to keep their key guys happy, and that's it. You have to be one of those key guys if you're going to make serious money with your ads. Number 2 rules: high click-through rate, high conversion rates always makes the most money. Then machine learning that Google has that would defy those rules, that is, they would want you to have an ad shown for a user that is not relevant for a user, wouldn't make sense. So in other words, if you and I are competing directly against each other, you're not using SKAG ads, I am, okay? Google could show, and they only have the option to show one ad because there's only so much ad space at the top of Google. My ad says directly what the user wants in the first headline in the ad, because when you're going to do SKAG, the whole point of SKAG is to put the keyword either exactly or very, very close to that keyword in the first headline, so people can see right away when they see the ad, this ad delivers exactly what I want and was looking for. If I have my ad against your ad that has something else besides that, my ad is going to be able to beat this ad 95% of the time plus. I know that because I've set up hundreds of accounts now. Once in a while, you'll get it to where this other ad here that doesn't say what the user typed in on the first headline will do better, but it's rare, so to say. And it's not true across the board. Some keywords it'll be true, but still others it won't. So with that said, the machine learning is set up to find the ad with the highest click-through rate. So you can't say your generic ad, they're just going to figure it out and then everything's going to be hunky-dory and you can stick your head in the sand and call it good enough. That's faulty thinking. They still just at the end of the day want the ad with the highest click-through rate. My ad has directly what the user has typed in the headline. My ad's going to get the highest click-through rate. It's going to be the favored one by Google. They're going to pour it thick for me in terms of benefits, lower cost per click, show up for the people that are the most likely to convert, that they know is most likely to convert because they've watched everything that person's done in the last 20 years, and then I'm going to be making all the money. So machine learning, them understanding, they understand what you're looking for is because your ad's not going to be as good, and that's what actually matters at the end of the day. Those are the golden rules. Click-through rate and conversion rate wins. Rules a day at the end of the day, every single time. The algorithm is trained to do that, not to just figure out what you want, but figure out what ads are doing the best. So I will say on the flip side that, yeah, you may not need SKAG if nobody else is using SKAG. Well, what if they are? Then you're just guaranteed to lose. Do you want to be in that position? And maybe they're not using it today, but what if they're using it tomorrow? Do you want to be in a position where your ad performance, once you build up your company and you've built this up to generate a few $1 million a year in sales, and you have all this overhead that has to be paid every month, and some guy listens to the video on this channel about how SKAG is going to be the best every single time, he does it, and all of a sudden you take a 30% haircut in your sales because his ads get most of the clicks now? Do you want to be in that position? You absolutely, if you're sane, you should be nodding your head no every single time. And then because of negative keyword siloing, you also don't have to worry about because Google will not hypothetically know to show this ad for this keyword and this ad for this keyword. What I mean by negative keyword siloing is, going back to my example I mentioned before, if you got the two keywords sewer unclogging service and sewer unclogging, what we do at our firm to make sure the right ad shows for the right person here is we have the negative keyword service added at the ad group level to the ad group that has the keyword sewer unclogging? This is a very common question I get about SKAG campaigns, which is why I wanted to make this video. So if the user uses service as a part of the keyword, they're not going to get the ad that is set up for sewer unclogging by itself because it's blocked at that particular ad group level. If you have sewer unclogging company, well then the word company would also be added as a negative keyword to the ad group for sewer unclogging, and it would be the same thing. So you can see how you're going to partition off, one keyword from another, even though the match type in Google, their match type system that decides if an ad's eligible to show for a certain keyword or not is a lot more liberal than it used to be. It's still going to be able to hone it in real well. Do a diligent job with your negative keyword siloing like I described. We use negative keyword siloing on every campaign we run because it matters that much. But even still, after you add the negative keyword siloing, it's still not going to be perfect. You'll notice, I don't want you coming back here and saying I'm wrong, because I'm telling you up front, right away when you launch your campaign, you'll notice the wrong ad that you intended for another keyword is showing up for the keyword over here. And that's going to be the way that it's going to be for a while. The inevitable conclusion, because the machine learning algorithm that's designed to get the highest click-through rate in the market, find out which ad is get the highest click-through rate for this particular search, is going to eventually figure out that the ad you had perfectly custom designed for this keyword is going to be the one that gets the highest click-through rate, and it's going to start only showing that ad from now on. And the time it can take to do that can be 6 months, can be 12 months. The inevitable end conclusion is going to be this ad that you've handwritten for this exact phrase is going to be the one that they should show because it gets the highest click-through rate. Not only that, but it gets the highest conversion rate, because if you do what I do with SKAG campaigns to really make them sing, you have a custom landing page for sewer unclogging service. So when they click on the ad that says sewer unclogging service, they have a landing page headline on there right away that says sewer unclogging service, because that increases the conversion rate by an average of 40% all by itself in and itself. So not just because the click-through rate's higher are they going to decide to show this ad for this particular phrase from now on, but because the conversion rate's higher, it's going to show for this particular phrase from now on. And so at the beginning, I will also admit that somebody not using SKAG, using a few keywords, they're going to beat my ads for the first 3, maybe even 6 months in terms of ad performance, because they're going to initially rack up a higher quality score / ad rank in their account, because all of their campaign learnings from their spend is going into a smaller pool of keywords, and you need a certain amount of clicks on each keyword individually to rack up a decent quality score in your account. So because I'm going to have 1,000 keywords, whereas, frankly, 75% of the spend is going to be relegated to about 50 to 100 terms in reality, the spend is going to be distributed over a wider band of keywords. So it's going to take longer to get some minimum data on each of our keywords. The end conclusion is still going to be the same. It's still going to figure out my setup is better than the competition's. Therefore, our ad should always be front and center for all these people, because I have a better fundamental setup that gets higher click-through rates and higher conversion rates across the board. And that's just it. So for me, I don't give a shit about short-term profits. Yes, they're nice to have, but I'm not going to sacrifice them over long-term profitability. If I can make 5 to 10 times as much money with that kind of setup as I just described than an average setup, and get that for the next 15 years, assuming Google Ads is going to be like it is for the next 15 years and ChatGPT doesn't take it over. But even then, ChatGPT is going to have a similar monetization system, because you can't run those servers for free, which is why we don't have to worry about search optimization people and not having something to optimize. It's always going to be somebody paying to get ahead of the line, because it has to work that way to make money and pay for the system. But fundamentally, that is, you're going to make way more money long term, and what you make extra every month in year 5 is going to pay for what you lost up front with your SKAG setup during that first 6 months or more. So do you want to make, just put it into perspective. You could either make $10 million over the next 10 years with SKAG, or you could make $2 million over the next 10 years just because you decided that SKAG wasn't for you, even though you hit baseline profitability with your ads after 90 days with your SKAG, and you hit it after 45 days with your non-SKAG setup. In the grand scheme of things, it's beyond to not use SKAG because you're going to make money faster with your campaigns, because you're in it to make more money overall, given that the amount more you're going to make with SKAG is so astronomically more that you have to go with that, and have to be your decision ultimately. And when I say you make 5 to 10 times more, I mean it, because the click-through rate alone is going to be triple. Then your conversion rate is going to be higher because you have custom landing pages for each of your keywords. Again, I could just shut up here and not tell anybody about this and just take all the profits for myself and all the markets that we're in. And at the end of the day, be done with it. But it really is, I see it more and more and more all the time. People saying, oh, you're being stupid, SKAG doesn't work. The reality is people that are saying it doesn't work, either they're misinformed at best, at worst, they don't want to set up SKAG campaigns because it takes too long. Your clients are not going to get the big result at the end of the day because you didn't want to spend 100 hours setting up a decent SKAG setup. Or if you're an in company, you're going to throw away $8 million of extra profit or extra revenue and let's say $1 million of extra profit because you didn't want to spend 100 hours setting up your initial campaign the right way at the beginning. It makes no sense whatsoever, no matter how you talk about it, however you slice it, it doesn't matter. If you're going to be a rational, making grown-up decisions here, there's no way you cannot justify doing it. Talking about e-commerce, you're still going to want to do SKAG, and it makes a big difference, not just because of the click-through rate, because it would be obvious you would get that increase in click-through rate that way as well, because of the landing pages, because I can hand select the best page to send people to. The best, whether it be a search results page, whether it be a category page on that site, or an individual product page. And that matters a lot, because some people that are looking, let's say they're looking for weight loss supplements. If they're looking for, let's say, chocolate weight loss supplements itself versus weight loss supplements, you know, sending them to a search results page that have all the chocolate flavored supplements is going to do much better than sending them to a regular supplements page that has the chocolate and non-chocolate mixed in. That's not to be disputed if you have any integrity whatsoever. I mean, you could disagree with me all you want. I actually like it when people disagree with me on this channel because I learned something. Sometimes you guys, I learned something still. That in itself, when marketing is not ever going to change. People, when they search, they want what they want. They don't want what you shove down their throat. They want what they want, and they want it now, and they want it clear, and they want it on the ad, and they don't want to be bait and switched when they get sent to the site. They want to find what they want as quick as possible. The quicker they find it, the more likely they are to convert. That's how it's always worked, and it's not going to change anytime soon. For that matter, I said my piece on that. You know, ultimately, if you want to know all these techniques about how to make more money with Google ads and Facebook ads and all the rest of it, all in terms of having to do with online ads, you should absolutely subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already, because it's all here. It comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy for dozens of different ad accounts to figure all this little stuff out. And furthermore, with that, if you already subscribed, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe. If you're at all serious about becoming a multi-millionaire running ads for your business, you want to subscribe to this channel because it's coming, the information is coming straight from the source, right from the horse's mouth of someone who's in the weeds actively doing it every day, which you can't find with 98% of the other channels and information out there. You can also like the channel, you can find my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has all the strategies that we're using at the firm to guarantee clients results with the screenshots, with everything you need to use them. And you should check that out as well. By the way, if you have any, not only just disagreements, questions about what I said, whatever, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or a comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. But to sum this up here, okay, you know, yes, you can set up a non-SKAG campaign in 30 minutes. And a SKAG campaign, if you're going to do it the right way, like I've talked about on how to do it the right way on I have a standalone video about how to set up SKAG campaigns the right way, the way that gets the full amount of results you're looking for, not just some of it. It will take you easily 100 hours to do it the right way, to find the 1,000 different variants individually of how people search for your product or service, and then writing handwritten copy for them, not using dynamic keyword, handwritten, you know, sending them to a hand-created landing page for that exact term or hand-selected page to send them to for that exact term, and do things the proper way. It's going to take you 100 hours to set it up the right way, but once it's done, it's done. It'll keep racking up more and more and more profit from your account from then on. And yes, it'll take time to get it initially going, kick-started, but it's well worth doing. I'll say, you know, simply put, you can't complain about your results if you don't do what guaranteed works every time because it's too much work. And if it's way too much work, well, that's what you got employees for. So there's no excuse not to do it. It's just as important doing that as it is the tracking that you have. And when you marry your tracking, especially high-end tracking where you're tracking whether a lead's qualified or not, and or sales that come through, profit that comes through your account, you pair that with the right setup that beats your competition by default, which it will because 98% of people aren't going to set up SKAG campaigns anymore. You're going to crush it, absolutely crush it in your market as a result. So wide open. there for the taking. Here's $1 million result that you're looking for right here. Are you going to take it? It's right here for you. You don't want it? You want it? Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it for you. But with that said, it's not that difficult to get results. Yes, it's time consuming, but anything that's hard or anything that's easy isn't worth to begin with. I want to, also say, your other option always is you can just hire our firm and we'll do it all for you. It's worth it to do it, especially since we're not going to charge you unless we get you a minimum lift in your profitability up front. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com. We also sell ad templates. If we've worked in your niche market already and gotten the results you're looking for, you can outright just buy from us the winning ad templates, landing page templates, all of it, SKAG setup that work for your niche market, as well as Facebook ads that work for that market, YouTube ads that work for that market, and so forth. As long as we worked in a different city or currently working in a different city or country than you're in, it's fair game to use the templates. And we can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front. We've worked in over 100 different niche markets in the last decade plus and running this firm already, so the chances are quite good. We've already got what you're looking for. And if you're not looking to work with an ad agency outright, well, that's a way to get the same kind of results without having to hire the ad agency. So if you're interested in that, you can also let me know. You can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. For the most part though, if you're stuck and you cannot grow your revenue in your account anymore or just can't get to profitability with your ads and you're frustrated as hell as to what's going on, start here, pause your ads, rebuild everything from the get-go. And if you got results already, set up this new setup and a new set of campaigns, run it side by side with your old setup so that you don't screw with your old results while the new campaigns get broken in, because it can take a while, like I mentioned before. And then it'll set you on a path where you can start growing your sales results again, ultimately. If you're still stuck with where you're at because maybe you just haven't figured out how to set up the SKAG setup the right way or whatever, you can also reach out to me for a quick coaching call. I've been starting to do this with you guys subscribing, and I go through your pricing strategy, your sales strategy, all of it, and figure out where the bottleneck is that's stopping your ads from getting and growing on an ongoing basis. Because if you do things right, they certainly should be for years and years and years. Because there's always another strategy that you can do. There's always a new ad platform you can get on. There's another way to create a better ad that will beat the current ad, and so forth. So if you're interested in that, I also been offering that as well. All the people that have been reaching out to get coaching so far, they come back and want more coaching after that, because the information is so valuable. So with that said though, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully that made a lot of sense. I know this was kind of a goofy video. I probably overacted a little bit more than I should, but I wanted to get the point across this time how much you're actually losing by not doing this, and how silly of an answer it is to tell yourself you don't need to do all the work to set up a SKAG campaign because machine learning or the match types are too broad now. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said SKAG was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.